Fire, fire, fire. Boat's on fire. Ooh! Oh, morning guys. Yep, second wind caught fire. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. Let me get dressed and I'll tell you all about it.
Well, that happened.
Hi, I'm John, and this is Sharon. And this is Second Wind. Watch us restore her back to her former glory, or even better, and then set sail and have adventures around the UK and then later around the world.
Right, that's better. Cheers, guys. As you can see, I'm at work. I just thought I'd sit down before lunch and give you guys a rundown of what's been going on. I haven't put anything on YouTube for over a year, obvious reasons, and didn't really get much sailing done due to COVID, so really we weren't allowed down to the boat at all, and that's where the problems came, but we will get to that later. Let's just go through the work that we did do. So first of all, we're going to talk about what we did in the saloon. So as you can see from the photo here, we had the original lights and original roof lining all pretty well stained, and just all the brass had gone and everything, and the roof lining had stained. So we decided we were going to change that. Plus all the lights weren't in the right place, so I wanted to put new lighting in and countersink, yeah, inlaid into the ceiling. Just a more modern LED light, so make it brighter and fresher and so on and so forth. Now it's easy to change the headlining on flat boards that were in the ceiling, but the more curved stuff, the padded stuff, that's not so easy to do. So for that I used a leather dye and put that in, painted that. Took about 3 or 4 coats. It's about £20 a tub, and I think I probably used about 60 quid's worth, and just painted, so because that material was fine, it was original to the boat, it was just tired, so we just painted it. And the leatherette stuff's really good. I've got a classic car and I did the same stuff to that. Absolutely brilliant. In fact, I've done a couple of classic cars with the stuff now, and it really does make a difference. So yeah, so we did that on like the side, on the sides where the windows were, because I didn't want to take the windows out and change all the leatherette, although I am now. Yeah, and the areas around the galley where the where you walk through into the aft cabin, that's all original. That's just been painted with this leather dye, or leatherette dye. The other thing we used was the leatherette itself that we bought for the headlining that we were going to replace. Now the key element there was the fact that it was fire resistant, and I can vouch for it. That stuff saved my boat. There's no foam lining on it. It was just pure leatherette, fire resistant. And it really was. Where the fire was, it went up around the electronics panel, although it wasn't the electronics panel that started the fire, it was an independent unit. But the fire went up there, and it did catch the roof lining, but the roof lining just smouldered a small bit and then died out. So here you can see where we've added the extra lighting in the galley area. You can also see the rounded area where we've used the paint to paint it, and the 2 little blue lights are actually the switches that turned on the lights in the galley, and also the lights down the tunnel into the aft cabin. Really nice finish, I think. Really liked it. It brightened up and modernised the boat quite considerably. It was a very white light, and to be honest, I'm having to buy it all again. I'm actually buying a yellower light this time and not the ice white, as it was a bit sharp for living in.
I was going to go with the ice white just in the galley but then it would have looked a bit off because they're all basically the same room. So we've gone with the slightly yellower light now, but they were all on dimmers anyway, so they could be dimmed, so you could control it. But yeah, second time around I'm going to go for the yellow light. We also put lighting inside the little shelves, cubby holes, on a separate switch, so they would light up the cubby holes, and they made them look nice, and it was a nice soft light when of an evening. You put them on instead of all the rest of it, and it was just a nice glow in the saloon while watching telly or chatting or whatever. And it highlighted the little plants and stuff like that. So that was quite nice. That was a nice touch and quite easy to do. The lights are quite cheap on 12-volt lights, LED lights on eBay, of course. But yeah, they're good. They're good. I bought the same again. I think they're really good. So yeah, one of the other things we've done on Second Wind was we've adjusted and adapted the saloon table. The original design had the little lip on it that was there to stop stuff sliding off and so on and so forth. But it was very painful on the arms if you're leaning on it while you're playing board games or cards or whatever. It actually meant we ended up putting foam over it at one point just to protect your arms from it. So decided to take the table out, bring it home, and take that edging off and change the edging. So we put like a nice oak edging on it, just B&Q oak cornicing stuff. The actual finish was a satin finish. The pictures here are a bit gloss because they've just been painted. That's the final couple of coats going on actually inside the boat there. Yeah, so that turned out quite well. Very happy with the end result. Yeah, if we get bad weather, you know, the table's out anyway, to be fair. And there's rubber mats now. You put them rubber mats down, nothing's going to move. I put them in my little cubby holes, my little shelves, and my little plants sit on them and stuff, and they never moved, or very rarely. But it has to be at 45 degrees before anything moved off of there. So to be fair, you don't need the lip-on tables anymore, and it's much more comfortable to play cards on. Well, we think. We haven't actually done it yet because we never got on board. So yeah, one of the other things that we did was the water tanks. The water tasted funny. It had for want of a better word, a mouldy taste to it. I've got the electronic pH testers and all that lot, and they all said it was fine. It was just a flavour. It even goes through a filter, but it still had a flavour to it. To the point, even when we were boiling it for our tea, it would make the tea taste funny. When I bought the boat, the tanks were fine. The water was fine. It had no problems. I've been dealing with it as per instructed, but I must have done something wrong at some point. So the water tasted. So we've been using bottled water for the last 12 months, really. So one of the jobs was we opened up the water tanks, and as you can see from the lid here, there's a lot of osmosis actually in the water tank. Obviously with all that water in there all the time, it's just blistered up. So we decided to seal it, and also there's a lot of mould. The lids were poorly made. I think the lids were made on a Friday afternoon, just before closing, by a student. Because they're terrible, absolutely terrible. The tanks themselves, beautiful, nice, nicely made, smooth and everything, osmosis, but yeah. But the lids were just in a really poor state, so I spent a lot of time sanding the lids down, getting them smooth, re-fiberglass, well, re-resining. I just resined the whole thing. They didn't need re-fiberglass and they didn't need reinforcing in the water tanks. And then I bought a water tank product to paint on it, and it's a two-part system that you put on it, and when you do that, it seals the tank. So Max Line 100 is what I've used. Like I said, it's resin, I guess. It is for water tanks anyway. So I've done all those. And then because of COVID and all the rest of it, I actually never closed them up because I assumed that I just propped it on bits of wood. So yeah, I just propped it on bits of wood so that air could get in, so that it wouldn't, of course we had the fire, so inside now is all black and charcoal through smoke, so especially the flat area. So I've now got to sand all that down and buy it again and do it all again. But it'll be a quick scuff up, give it a good clean, and then just another 2 coats of the plastic paint basically, which seals any water tanks stuff. So that I'm going to do all that. If I've still got a taste in the water after all this, I'm then going to replace all the pipes. And if I'm doing that, I'm going to replace the hot water boiler as well, and just change everything that I can, because at the end of the day we're going to be living on this for 2 or 3 years while we go traveling, so we want the water to be drinkable. We don't want to be living out of bottled water for the rest of our lives, the plastic and all the rest of it. We want it to be able to hold water that we can drink, so that's the plan anyway. The head was a great success, really happy with the way the head turned out. Originally it was like a hearing aid beige, and it was just showing its age, just like the boat. The boat was 35 years old, it was showing its age. Most people have changed the bathrooms out in a house after 35 years, probably a couple of times. So it was time for a revamp, and you can't go to B&Q or a builder's merchants and just buy a new bathroom off the shelf. You've either got to rip out what you've got and just make do with buying in sinks and all the rest of it, or you refurbish what you've got, which is what I did. Never heard of anyone else doing what I did, but I gave it a go. Basically, I sanded down all the fiberglass stuff, so the sink, the shower tray, took everything out, like the toilet and all that lot, sanded down the sink and the shower tray and all that lot, got that really nice and clean and smooth, primed it, and I actually sprayed it. I sprayed it with a car paint, a nice white, and it came up really well. Really pleased with the end result. It stank the boat out for a little while of fumes from spray paint, but it's probably better than smoke, which is what it stinks of at the moment. And all the walls I used basically a sticky back plastic, like you do wrap a car and all that lot. I used a wrap, and I put that on all the walls. I put a nice grey on the back, and a wood effect white on the other bulkheads. And yeah, I was really pleased with the end result. Sanded and oiled the tray on the floor, and yeah, it came out really well. So yeah, very pleased with that result there. Onto the galley. We changed the cooker out. The old cooker was actually leaking gas. While we were doing that, I decided I was going to change out the worktops. That's a massive job on a boat, is to change out worktops. You can damage all your trim and all your wood and all the rest of it. So again, I went back to my Blue Peter special and I found some basically sticky back plastic, and just stuck it on top of what was there, just gave it a damn good clean. I changed all the little hand holder brass fittings for chrome ones, square ones, so I routed out the hole so that they'd sit flush and went in nicely, and just took everything out and just sticky back plastic the whole just sticky back plastic the whole thing. As you can see here, I also made a drip tray, because we didn't have a drip tray, which was quite awkward. So as you can see from the end result there, it came out quite nice. We're very happy with the end result of the galley. The aft cabin, the mattress was 35 years old, so you turned over, your bum hit the unit underneath. So we got a cheap foam mattress, just to try really. We cut the edges on it and sewed it all back up to see how it would go, and it actually worked out really well. Really pleased with the way that it turned out. We also Sharon bought some lovely little dainty curtains, and a friend of hers bought a little flag thing that we put up in there, and just made it nice and personal, really. We will be doing the headlining in there this year. As soon as we're doing the other one, we'll be doing this one as well. So yeah, so that's what we're doing on Second Wind. Most of it is now going to be done again. So although I didn't video it the first time, I'm going to video most of it again this time, so everybody can just see how I did it. Next video will be about the fire, what happened, how it was dealt with,